Um, I think this is about our typical group. If any other late joiners come in, they can catch up. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. We're first gonna start with feelings, our feelings first, okay? Because I think we're gonna try to touch feelings and then descriptions, and descriptors on how you would describe someone. So first we're gonna get one with our feelings. And so my little list, I gotta zoom in. There we go. The first sign we have is the sign for feeling itself, which is gonna be your middle finger, and you're gonna flick up in the center of your chest. Feeling. Excuse me. Now, this also can mean like it feels like. Typically, when you're talking about with this one, it's talking more of emotion. So I feel happy today. I feel frustrated, things like that. If you're talking about the texture of something, you typically are like, that feels like you kind of have a different sort of sign for it where you almost like point to it and you kind of like touch like sticky. So like that's sticky. Sometimes I've seen people do feels sticky. Um, but you more often typically try to do this just for like feelings. Okay. The next one we have is the sign for emotions. And so the sign for emotions is you are going to have two E's and you're going to go up alternating on your chest. So it's like I tap it, tap, tap, tap. Emotions. Okay. Emotions. hmm Okay. The first one we're going to do, the first feeling emotion we're going to be doing is the sign for happy, which I think we did happy birthday already. If we haven't, I know we talked about it. That's what I was trying to remember. And so for happy, you're going to have two fives and you pat up on your shoulders. Happy. Happy. And I'm making like circular motions as I hit it and come up. Happy. And you are tapping your shoulders. You do want to make sure you are tapping your shoulders. Happy. Okay. Another thing with our emotions, it is very important, is facial expressions, obviously. So, because that's actually an interesting, we had a conversation today, one of my coworkers and I, about some of our kids that when they're reading like sentences and stories, they will have no emotion. And so we're trying to teach them as well how important it is to express on your face, what's actually happening. And so same thing goes for actual like conversation. If you're talk conversation, so if you're talking about how you felt really happy to see something, you do typically kind of have that smile with it, like I'm happy. Like it doesn't have to be a big dramatic like happy smile like I do, but it can be just like a nice like subtle like you want to sure your face shows that you are actually happy. Okay. The next one we have is sad. And so for sad, you're going to have two fives and you're going to have them kind of close to your face and you're going to go sad, sad, sad. And I typically do add my shoulder slouch with it. Sad, sad. Like I'm like, I'm droopy because I'm sad. I'm feeling sad today. Sad, sad. Okay. The next one we have is mad. There's multiple different ways you can sign mad. I'm going to show you a few of them. The first one we have is just the sign for mad. And so the sign for mad is you're going to have a five, slightly bend your fingers again, and you're going to go mad, 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 mad. Another one that I like to use often, I'll admit this. Is for when you just blow up, like you explode. You're so mad, you're so ah, that sort of deal. And you are going to do the same sign if you remember for soda. Okay, I'm gonna do this higher soda, but you're going to instead of being just small like this, you go wow, and you slam it back down. Blow up, like explode, like ooh, she was mad. And for this, my visual and connection to both of those signs is that if you think about when you get a soda and you shake it all up and it's all fizzy inside, and when you open it, it just shoots out. That's the concept with it. So, when you bottle things in and then you get really mad and then you just blow up, you've just lost it, you explode. Same concept. So that sort of thing. Okay, let's see. Another one I'm gonna do. for mad, and then we'll pause and go back. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Um, there have been times where you're just you smack so hard almost like it makes a really loud clapping sound. And so sometimes I do, not sometimes, I do warn people when you are signing angry, like and you're mad, be careful because you can accidentally hurt yourself. I have done that a few times. Yeah, I have done that a few times. The first one I did was I did the sign for fed up, which was another one we are going to do. I'll go ahead and show you now. Fed up is you have like a B, you start down low and you bring it up to your chin. Fed up. This also means being full. Like I've eaten like a lot of food and I'm full, like I couldn't eat more. The difference is your facial expression. Like I'm full, I've eaten full versus I am fed up. I am fed up with you. Fed up. I've smacked myself on the chin really hard before. And like it's funny when you're doing it and like you're talking to someone like, oh, I was so fed up with them. And then I'll be like, ow. Like I stop mid-sentence being like, oh, I actually hurt myself. Be careful. Um, Another one is the sign for stop, which I'm gonna add just because it is a interesting one and it's good to know. You have your non-dominant palm up. Your dominant is gonna be like a closed five, and you put it on top. Stop. Stop. And so my fingers are facing out, my hand faces out. Stop. There you go. Yeah, I don't know why my computer. Hold on. There we go. Stop. Stop. And if you yell stop, if you sign stop really hard, oh, you can do some damage to your palm right here. It hurts. So be careful with your sign, especially when you're feeling frustrated or even when you're excited. Because sometimes when you get really excited and you talk fast, I do that. You sign fast, you can hurt yourself. But yeah, okay, we spiraled off of that. So let's go back real quick. We had our sign for feeling. So feeling. Feeling. Then we had emotion, emotion. Those E's. I keep making I'm screaming E's. Emotion. Then we had happy, happy, happy. Then we had sad, sad, sad. Then we had our mad, mad, mad. Ooh, mad. Then we had our explode. So explode, explode. And then we had this is when I did fed up. We had fed up, fed up, fed up. And then we added stop, stop, stop. Okay. The next one we're gonna do, let's see, we'll just go on. There we go. The next one we're gonna do is the sign for scared. And so the sign for scared is also the same sign for scary. Okay. There's like a slight difference on how you move your hands, but I'll show you both. Oh, happy birthday. Okay, I will go back to this because I did mention it and I think I saw a head nod and I was like, okay, well, let's go back to that real quick before we do scared. Okay. So for happy birthday, you do happy. And then birthday is going to be your middle finger to your chin and then your chest. So happy birthday. Happy birthday. Okay. Thank you for that. So now scared. So for scared, you're going to have two S's. You're going to have them turn sideways like this. And you do kind of have one up and one down. You do want that. And you're going to go scared, 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 scared. So it's like you open your hands. I think it has, I don't know if you guys have seen anybody when they get scared. Sometimes when people get scared, they go, ah! Like they like curl their hands like that. It's that, like scared, scared, scared. And then for scary, it's like scary. Like you bounce that fives back and forth, like, ooh, that's scary, scary. Okay. The next one we have is tired. So tired is you're gonna have two hands. You're gonna have those bent hand puppets again. Put them above your armpits. And then you're going to bring them down. Tired, tired. Mm-hmm. Like this. You could, yeah, you can do like that. I would almost be like, this is like scary, like in, oh, that's scary. Doing that or saying that, like kind of almost like scary movies. This nail biter, I almost see this more of a descriptor, not exactly a official. Sorry, I love how I just turned my voice off for that. Official like sign, like the actual signing for scary. That's more just like, like acting out, if that makes sense. Like that's like a descriptor basically, just biting those nails. But yeah, you can do that. They're gonna catch on. Oh, you're talking about something that makes you nervous and scared. So, okay. So back to our tired. So we had our bent hands above armpits, bring them down. Tired, tired, tired. And you do want your shoulders kind of going down. Mine are not being very obvious right now. I'm trying to kind of keep higher up so you can see me, but I am bringing them down. Like I am tired today. Tired. This one you can do one hand, but I would be careful with that because this also means fault one hand, like it's my fault. So I would typically only use that if they're saying, like if someone asks you, how are you? And you say, I'm tired, that time. Yes. So animals, you bounce it back and forth. Animal, like think about flapping your wings almost, that sort of deal. Animal. Tired is like one time. I probably was repeating it a few times over and over again, but it's just one time. Tired. You don't keep going, tired. That's like saying it over and over. You just do it one time. Okay. Then we have bored. This is also the sign for boring. Okay. So you have your pointer finger and you're going to put it on the side of your nose and go bored, 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 bored. And my visual with this one is, when kids are bored in class, what is sometimes they resort to picking their nose because they're bored and they're doing that sort of thing. So they're bored, bored, bored. Okay. The next one we have is excited. So excited is going to be, again, those eights kind of deal. And you let them go. So I keep doing that. And you're going to flick your fingers up. So remember how we did our emotions? We did that E up, then up. Same thing, but with the middle fingers. Excited. And you keep going. It's almost like in a circular motion. So I am going a bit forward with it. It's not just up, down, because you don't want to go just straight up and down. You want to have that circular motion of it. Okay, excited. Okay, excited. And if you guys can't tell, I am tapping my chest. So like when I'm tapping, I am like I'm not like doing it at a distance. I'm doing it actually on me. Excited. Okay. The next one we have, and then let's see how many are we done? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. The next one we have is calm. So for calm, you do the same also for quiet, which is you start with like two B's and you go calm. So they're like in front of each other and then you bring them down. Calm, 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 calm. Okay. Let's do one more, then we'll go back. The next one we have is upset. So for upset, you're gonna have a B. You're gonna put it at the top of, like kind of higher up towards your neck, and then you're going to do a small flip. Okay, upset. And you do want to make sure you stay kind of up higher on your chest rather than lower near your stomach, because if you make that motion towards your stomach, that is pregnant. And I don't think you want to be, if you're trying to tell someone you are upset, I don't think you want them to think you're pregnant. I feel like that would be a very interesting confusion. So upset, hmm upset. Okay, let's go back. So we had our happy birthday. So happy birthday. Hmm. Then we had our scared, 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 scared. Had our scary, scary, scary. We had our tired, tired, tired. Then we had our bored, bored, bored. You can also just keep your finger right next so you don't have to pull it out. That either or works. Bored, bored, both work. I just typically do go out. Bored. Then we had excited, excited. And then calm, calm, calm. And then upset, upset, upset. Okay. Let's see. Our next one is going to be embarrassed. And so for embarrassed, you're going to have two fives and you're going to brush your five. Like it's not like full touching up your cheeks. Embarrassed, embarrassed. Visual with this is if people get embarrassed, their faces usually get pretty red. And so it's like the red coming up your face. Embarrassed, embarrassed, embarrassed. Okay. Then we have frustrated. So frustrated is going to have two B's. And the way you do this is it's like your B's are coming towards you and you're going to bring it towards your mouth and slide down. Frustrated, frustrated, frustrated. And again, or not again. This one's visual is like you're hitting a barrier. You're trying to go ahead, you're trying to get something. And you know, when you're trying to do something, something doesn't work or something goes wrong. And so you get kind of stopped. You kind of bump, oh, gotta fix this. Bump, oh, gotta fix it again. Bump. So that's where that frustrated, frustrated. Okay. The next one we have is nosy. Nosy is just very simple. You tap your nose. You're nosy. This one I use quite often at school because I'm telling you now, kids, all kinds of kids, and I see the kids there, they're all nosy. They all want to know what's going on. So nosy. Okay. The next one is serious. So for serious, you're going to have that pointer finger. You're going to start on your chin, kind of on the side, and you're going to turn it. Serious, serious, serious. Serious, serious. Um, Sometimes I've seen seriously, like seriously, seriously, with the eyebrows kind of like scrunching, like or like it's up or down kind of deal. Serious, like I think I go down seriously. But I think that's because I'm also being like, are you serious? Like question, like making my face to match that, even though eyebrows should go up. Seriously. I do typically use really instead. So I was trying to think on that because I have seen some people be like, see, I can't even do my eyebrows that way. I don't know why my brain. It's because I think whenever I say like, "Are you serious?" and being more like sarcastic and being like, "Really?" that sort of thing, and that's why I always have my eyebrows like, "Come on," even though it should technically be up. But I feel like if I do them up, that's like asking for an actual answer versus down being like, "No, I'm not. No, I know you're being funny." Um. Okay, the next one is chill. Okay, so I'm gonna add this one here as well. Chill and cool. Okay, because there are two ways you can sign chill, kind of depending on the context of the sentence. And then I'm gonna add the cool, cool here. So the first chill we're gonna do is talking about being chill. Like I'm chill, I'm calm, I'm cool, that sort of thing. And you're gonna have two fives and you're gonna bounce. Chill, chill, chill. And kind of have that like chill mood kind of attitude, where you're like, your shoulders are going back and forth. Chill, chill, chill. I know it looks like the dance from Wednesday. I don't know if any of y'all have watched that, but this is a very big deal at my school as well, because the kids have seen that one snippet of that dance that she does. And It's funny. I dressed up as Wednesday last year, 2 years ago for Halloween, and the first thing they all kept doing was, "Oh, Wednesday?" And they kept doing this to me, and I was like, that's not what it is." No, I was like, "Yes, I'm Wednesday, but like that's not what I know as Wednesday." So for chill, you kind of do it back and forth a bit. Chill. So if I was saying, "I'm chill," I kind of would do one here, one, and then back. So like 3 times. One, two, three. I'm just kind of keep doing it because, I keep in my mind, I'm almost saying the word over and over again. Chill. Okay. The next one is chill. Like you need to chill out. You need to calm down. And this one's kind of actually a bit of a newer sign because that is a phrase more kids are using nowadays. Instead of saying like calm down, breathe or relax, they're more of saying like chill, chill. And so it's going to be two C's and you're gonna tap them on top of each other, but you make sure they're like on the actual hand line. So chill, chill, chill. Chill. Put your pinky on top of your pointer finger. Like see, they're almost on top of each other. There you go. Further down. Like it's completely sideways. There you go. Yeah, yeah. Down sideways. If it's too high, that's gonna look, it's like that's almost like they're being flat next to each other. Chill. There. Chill. This one's actually a really hard one to show on camera. I can see that now. Chill. Okay? Chill. So that's like, ooh, chill. It's okay. Chill. All right. Our next one is cool. This is not in the cool as in, oh, it's cool outside. It's nice outside. The temperature wise. This is as in, oh, that person's cool, that sort of deal. And so it's going to be like you're holding a tiny little pinch. You're going to bring it at the corner of your mouth and you're going to go cool, cool, cool. So you like twist it. Cool, cool. Cool, cool. You can also say that if you're talking about something being cool. So like, oh, that phone, that's cool. It's cool that it does that. Cool. Sort of deal. Cool. Okay. Let's see the next one. Fun. Okay. So for fun, there is a difference between fun and funny. Okay. So the sign for fun, I will show you both, obviously. The sign for fun is going to be you're going to have, okay. I had to do it because I was like, I want to keep sticking my thumbs out, but that's not what this one does. You're gonna have two U's. One is gonna be kind of down, facing down. The other one's gonna be on top of your nose. And you're gonna go fun, 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 hmm fun, fun, hmm fun. Okay. Then we have funny, which does end up having the thumb come out. And you're gonna bring it to your nose again, but now you're gonna bounce it off your nose. Funny, funny, funny. Funny. So funny. Okay. Let's see. Where was I? All right. Our next one is going to be sick. And I know we've kind of veered off of emotions. We're already kind of touching a bit into how you would describe someone being funny, being serious, being boring, those sort of things. They kind of blend together. So that's why we typically just kind of keep them together. Okay. So for sick, you're going to have your kind of that open bent eight again. All right, your middle fingers, your dominant's going to touch your forehead and your non-dominant's going to kind of come to your stomach. It can come a bit higher. I typically go down to my stomach, but you're going to tap sick, sick, sick. And the way you almost can show severity of being like really, ooh, she's sick is like you like puff out your cheeks like, ooh, she's sick, sick, sick. Okay. And then, um, sorry, I was just thinking something that else to add. If we have time, I'll add at the end. The next one we have is proud. So proud is going to be, see, that's where I was like, okay. Because I was like, there's so many different types of sick. of how you are sick. And that's why I was like, I can add a little bit extra at the end with more types of variations of sick because there's a couple different ways you can say that. So I'll hold that at the end. My list is not that long this time. Um, but we will actually get, so we can actually go through those. Oh yeah, this isn't always an interesting section. We go through all the emotions in this class, okay? So let's finish off this list and then we'll come back to the different types of how you would sign the different ways of being sick. Okay. So I have my next one is proud. Proud is going to be a thumbs up. You're going to turn it down. You're going to start at your belly button typically, and you're going to slide it all the way up. It's almost like you're zipping the jacket, zipping up a jacket. And you stop kind of right around chest level, and this is proud. Proud, this also can be pride. Pride, like you have a lot of pride. Proud. And you do this one only one time. It is not multiple, okay? Let's go back because I think we've done a lot in this list and haven't gone back. So we had, yeah, we have not. We had embarrassed. So embarrassed. If you remember, it's like the red coming up on the face because you get embarrassed. Embarrassed. Then we had frustrated. 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 Then we had nosy. 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 Then we had serious. 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 Then we had chill. Chill. So chill. And then chill out. Chill. Chill. We had cool. 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 And you do want to make sure you have that full pinch because if you have it with just the X, that's jealous. So yeah. No, you're good. That I just saw it slightly open. I was like, I could see someone thinking you said jealous, not cool. So cool. Then we had fun. 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 Then funny. 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 We had sick. Thick. Thick. And then proud. 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 Okay. The next one we have is silly. So there are two ways you can do silly. One is more of a wider sign, and then one of them is, I'll explain. It makes no sense how I'm wording it. I can already tell I'm like, this is not going to make sense until I sign it. So you're going to have two Y's. You're going to have your dominance Y, the thumb on your nose, or like near your nose, not directly on it, but near. And then you're going to put the other hand right here in front, okay? So it looks very long. Then what you're going to do is you're going to bounce them back and forth, shaking them. So like I'm doing like Y's out, like going back and forth. Silly, silly. And you do it near your nose. So you do want to make sure you're near your nose. Silly, silly. Okay. The other way you can do it is just with one hand and going silly. Silly. On your nose again, still. You do want to make sure you're still on your nose. Yes, this is one where if you're not careful or you don't have good depth perception. Oh my gosh, wow. You can bump your nose, and if you got some long nails, you can do some damage. So be careful with that. But silly. Um, so the way I use this is typically this is silly, like, oh, that's silly, ha ha, silly. But if I'm talking about someone being over the top, crazy silly, that's when I usually go, you be silly, silly, silly a lot, big time, silly. So this almost adds more emphasis on what's actually happening. So silly, whoo, versus that's silly kind of deal. Now, some people may just use silly period for both. I typically do that one, the minor and then the major. I've seen some people also do that, but I have seen some people just keep with silly period. Okay. Then we have ignore. So for ignore, you're going to have a 4. You're going to put your pointer finger on your nose, okay? And then you're going to swipe it away. Ignore. Ignore. And my favorite one with this sign is, if anyone's been around kids, that is sometimes the hardest thing to teach them, is how to ignore when someone is being annoying. And I will never forget when I taught 3rd grade. One of my students was kind of tattling, was like, they're doing blah, blah, blah. It wasn't anything big. And I said, okay, well, just ignore them and do your work. My student said, okay, okay. Looks at the other student that's getting on her nerves and goes, I ignore you. And I was like, that's not ignoring. That's not how ignoring works. And I had to explain that ignoring means you don't look at them, period. And they still would look at each other and go, I ignore you. I'm ignoring you. And I'm like, that's not even, that's the exact opposite of ignoring. It's always an interesting conversation. Sometimes I like almost test to see when I have a new group, do we know what the word ignore means? And they'll like tell me something, I go, ignore them. And I watch. I'm like, are you about to say it? Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. I'm like, okay, we've got to teach a lesson on what ignoring means. I don't know. I just think it's so funny. I'll never forget that like serious face of like looking at the other one. I mean, ignore you with that full like attitude. I was like, okay, okay, gotta explain that. Gotta work on that. So we had ignore. The next one we have is annoy slash bother. It is the same sign, okay? So you're gonna have your non-dominant in a B. You can't have your thumb up. I think honestly both goes up. I think I do keep mine up. And then you're gonna have your non-dominant also in that open flat B, okay? You're gonna bring your dominant in between your thumb and the pointer finger, okay? And this one you wanna tap, bother, annoy. You wanna tap at least 2 times. Because if you do it one time, this is interrupt. So interrupt, annoy, bother. The connection with that is that interrupting is supposed to be one time. You interrupted my sentence one time. Constantly interrupting, that's annoying and that's bothering me. Okay? All right. The next one we have is the sign for curious. So curious is going to be a 9. And you're going to bring it to your center of your neck and you're going to go like almost like I'm pinching a little bit of my skin, not hard, obviously, just holding it. And I go in a circular motion. Curious, curious. Curious. Okay. Then the next one we have is confused. So for confused, you're going to have 2 open 5s, kind of slightly bend them. Dominant is going to stay facing outward. You're going to turn your non-dominant towards you, okay? And you want to bring it up high, and you're going to go in circular motions, okay? Confused. Confused. And my visual for this one is when you don't understand something, you feel like you're in the dark, you feel like you're surrounded, like I think about when people are like lost in their way, like in cartoons, like they'll have that little like text box and it's all just scribbles, like they don't get it. They're like, huh? It's like that. They're just confused. It's all these circular clouds that it's not clear. Confused. Okay? Confused. Okay. Let's see. 1, 2, 5. All right. The next one we have is the sign for mean. And so the sign for mean, okay, I'm going to go ahead and sign it first and then I'll explain it because it is kind of a hard one to explain. It's mean, mean, okay? So you have open 5s and then as you bring it down, you slowly turn them into thumbs. Mean or thumbs ups. Mean, mean. And it is important your dominant hand does the motion down. Mean, mean, okay? Mean, mean. Okay. Mean. Okay. Let's go back through those because then I have 5 left after this. So we had our silly, silly, or silly. We had our ignore, ignore, ignore. We had our annoy slash bother, annoy, bother, multiple tabs. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Then we had curious, curious. Mm-hmm. Curious. Ow. Sorry, I had to pop my finger. Curious. Then we had confused, confused, confused. Then mean, 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 mean. And you want to keep them kind of close together. Outward will be a bit, you want to keep them so carefully without bumping your knuckles. Mean, mean. Okay. All right. So my last, well, actually four because we already did one. All right. The next one we're gonna do is the sign for rude. There are two ways you can do it. I've seen one way a bit more often than the other. They kind of have a good balance, but there is one I do see slightly more. So the first one for rude is you're gonna have a Y. Goodness, I keep like over sticking out my fingers, so it's like making them sore. You're gonna put your thumb on the opposite corner of your mouth, and you're gonna slide it across. Rude, 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 rude. The other sign for rude is you're gonna have your non-dominant palm up, have that middle finger from your eight looking, and you slide it across. Rude, 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 rude. This one I see too. I tend to go with rude. A couple different reasons. One is that if you're not careful, especially when I was learning ASL, I was like, ooh, if you're not careful, if you accidentally sign the back of your hand and say that, trying to say rude, this is actually naked. So yeah, that's why I tend to go with this one because this one can easily get confused if you just have your hand flipped one little way. Okay. But both I do see a good bit. Rude, rude. Okay. Then the next one we have is nice. So nice is going to have your non-dominant palm up and you're going to slide it across. Okay, I love that. Oh my gosh, that was actually amazing. I'm sorry. That just, oh my gosh. I'm going to have to tell my friends. They will love that. I will love that. I love that. I'm never going to forget it. Thank you. That will be forever how I always go about signing that one and talking and telling and being like, yeah. Okay, perfect. Sorry, got distracted. Nice is you're gonna have your dominant hand flat and slide across. Nice. I think we did this one already when we did did I ever show y'all nice to meet you? I cannot remember. Sometimes we start at the beginning of class, sometimes we do it at the end. I'll show y'all, okay? So nice, all right, nice. This can also be clean, like it's nice and clean. Okay, like one hand across, clean. Okay, yeah. So nice to meet you is you would do nice, okay? And then the sign for meet, like to meet, is you're gonna have two pointer fingers and you're gonna go meet. And I'll turn it sideways so you can see. I'm doing this, meet. Now, here's the deal with this one, okay? This is a directional sign. And we haven't done many of those. I think that was a part of. Actually, we somehow have dropped those ones. I'll add those back. With directional signs, it is really important that whoever you are including or talking about, you make sure to include. So, for example, you want to do meet like sideways like this because you're talking about the person standing to your left and the person standing to your right are meeting, not you. Okay. So, you want at least one of them to be you. And then the other one, you typically have kind of where your person is. So because I'm talking to y'all, it's right here in front of me. And you go meet, meet. Same motion, same sign, nothing changes except where the direction is. And that is showing that you're talking about you and me, or this person and me. So if I was talking to this person next to me, I would go meet, meet, meet. Like that time, because my shoulder, you can't really tell, but I did shift. Meet, meet, because I'm looking at that person. Meet. Okay. So nice to meet you would be nice to meet you. Mm-hmm. It can go very smooth. Nice to meet you. Okay? All right. My last little few we have is smart. So for smart, you're going to have your middle finger. You're going to be on the side of your head and you're going to go out. Smart, 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 smart. This is also bright. Like you're very bright. Not like it's bright outside, but bright, like you're a bright kid. You're very smart. Smart. Okay. The next one we have is surprise. This is also surprise, not surprise. It is surprise, but wake up. Okay. Did we? No, I'm sorry. I jump sometimes where I'm like, did we do this when we talked about birthdays? Because I know you can talk about a surprise, but I don't think we did. So for surprise, you're going to have two G's, or not two G's, 20, sorry, on the side of your eyes, and you go surprise, 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 surprise. All right, so surprise, surprise. Like I said, this also is wake up because, you're sleeping, your eyes open. Um, Typically the way the difference is like I woke up, went to work, blah, 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 was surprised. Like I almost tend to make my surprise a bit brighter. Like I bring it out. I also kind of make a little jump, like, oh, I was surprised to see that. Or like my head kind of falls back versus when I wake up, I'm like, my eyes just open. There was not a big deal about it. My eyes open. Congratulations. That sort of deal. Okay. The last one we have is friendly. And so for friendly, you're gonna have two fives and you're gonna wiggle your fingers towards you. Friendly, friendly, friendly. This also can sometimes, I was having to kind of be flirty. That's why I was trying to make sure to double check. Friendly, friendly, friendly. It's like you wiggle, and it's hard to tell, but I am wiggling my fingers just a little towards my face. I'm just that motion, but towards my face. Friendly, friendly, friendly. Okay. Let's go back through these few that we did, and then we'll add our six different signs, and then I will leave it open for any signs you guys are curious of, or any more feeling signs as well. So we had our rude, or rude. We had our nice, 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 and then meet. I'm adding it here. Nice, meet. Then we had our surprise, surprise, surprise. And then our friendly, 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 friendly. Okay, so let's talk about being sick. Okay, there's a few ways you can do it. The first thing I am going to show you is the sign for a headache or well, no, I'm going to show you the sign for pain. Okay, this is also the sign for hurt. And so this one is actually, I think, could be really important, especially if you came across and there was an emergency and a deaf person was injured and you're trying to ask if they're hurting. I do think this would be a very valuable thing to know. So the sign for hurt/pain is you're going to have two, they're almost like G's, but I kind of have my thumbs down. I go sideways and you're going to go hurt, pain, hurt, pain. And it's just bouncing back and forth, okay? And they're not fully touching. They're getting close, but they're not touching. Trying to see. There we go. Okay. With this one, you leave it typically here lower on your chest. But the nice thing that's about this one is this one actually can be not really directional, but directional. Because if you're talking about a headache, like your head hurts or you have a headache, it's the same sign, but up here. Because it's talking about your pain is up here. It's hurting. So headache. If you're talking about your arm hurting, you can do hurt, like arm, like hurt. Hurt, hurt. If you're talking about your ear hurting, hurt, hurt, right here. So you can move this sign all over the body to ask, are you hurting? So if you see clearly someone's like hurting their hand, you can like point and go hurt, like towards their hand, hurt, or their leg. You can hurt and point to the leg or sign it near the leg. So that one takes care of a lot of different types of pains you can have just in general throughout the body. Okay, I do think that one is just a good one to know. So, not always being with sick, but sometimes you have a stomach ache or your stomach hurts. Your stomach is like, and you can't really tell, but I am doing it in front of my stomach, this motion. Your stomach hurts for being sick. If you have a cold, like a runny nose, it is going to be a 4, and you're going to put it right on your under your nostril, and you're going to go cold, like runny nose. Cold. So nose dripping, cold, runny, any of those. Okay? Excuse me. If you feel nauseous, that was the other one I was trying to remember. Nauseous is also kind of around with disgust. So it's going to be this open 5. You bend it again and you put it on your chest and you circle it like, this is like disgust. So this is disgusted. Like, I'm disgusted. That's disgusting. Okay. To be nauseous is the same thing, but with your non-dominant on your stomach. Ooh, like I'm nauseous. That made me nauseous. So I have it both on my stomach and my like upper chest. Okay. Um, throw up. Okay. I think this one again could be important if you need, yeah. Well, you're very close. So you're gonna have 2 5s. You're gonna have one with the thumb on your chin and then the other one below, and you go throw up, throw up, throw up. And it is important that shoulder kind of goes with it. Throw up, throw up, throw up. I know. The thing I love with ASL, but also sometimes not, is the visual. And I'm like, it makes sense. I mean, but it also is like, okay. So throw up. Let's see what other ones. If you had a broken bone, I know that's not being sick, but if you were talking about breaking something, your finger, your thumb, your foot, whatever, you would point to it, and then the sign is break. So it's 2 S's, you have them together and you break. You broke it. Break. Break. Um, that wouldn't be though for the sign for break, like in I need to take a break or we have spring break. Some people will do that. They will say, like, oh, I have a break now. You're not breaking anything, you're sitting and resting. That is break. So it's like you have your non-dominant kind of in Spock again, and your dominant is like a B, and you slide it in between. Break, break, break. So this one's talking about taking a minute, cool down, your lunch break, spring break, that sort of thing. Break. Okay. All right. Let's see. Any other 6 signs you could have? Think, is there any other 6 signs? Fever. That's a good one. I was literally sitting up here just thinking in my head and I didn't even look down. So for fever, you're going to have a B and you're going to pat it on your forehead, like the back of it. Fever. So think about like when you feel sick and if your parents or your guardians ever like pat your head, like they do this like the back of their hand to feel if you feel feverish. Fever. 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 Okay. All right. Any other signs you guys can think of? They don't have to be necessarily related to sick, but they could be related to feelings, emotions, or even not if you're really curious about some that we haven't gone through, we haven't talked about yet. Ooh, okay. I love it. I love it. All right. So the flu is finger spelled flu. Okay. But egotistical has a sign, and so does COVID. Okay. I was like, at least I can come back with at least some. So the first one for egotistical, this one actually I do think this one's kind of funny. You're gonna have like 2 baby C's. That's what I call them. Is when it's just your pointer finger. You're gonna have it sideways like this. You're gonna bring it next to your head and ride it. Ooh. And the concept is it being like a big head, like you're big headed. You're full of yourself. You're got this big ego, and you do have an attitude when you sign it, like this big ego. So you do have some attitude with that one, okay? The next one, COVID. All right, so COVID does have its own sign. The sign for COVID is you're going to have your non-dominant in a fist. Your dominant is going to be, sorry, I went ahead. It's like a slightly bent five again, and you turn it. COVID, 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 COVID. COVID. I don't think we have either. I don't think we've done the sign for egotistical. I love when people throw new signs for me. That's why I got excited. I was like, oh my gosh, yes, we have different questions. COVID. What's really cool is I actually talked with my coworkers about this one because this one is technically a new sign because COVID was not really, I mean, it was, but it wasn't a thing that became really popular. Not popular, but spread. Um, and so the reason for COVID, like this sign, is because of if you look at the visual, like the virus, it's like a circle with the legs sticking out. So that's why it looks like the sign for, like visual of COVID. So it's very visual. I think it's very cool. So yeah, COVID. COVID. And also on top of it, it also showing like it's spreading kind of deal. So it just kind of has that overlap applying to it. COVID. Psychotic. Okay. I love it. So the first one we're gonna do is actually first one. We're gonna do technically it's crazy. All right, because we didn't do that one. Crazy, insane, that sort of deal. That is talking more like you're being crazy. You're being a bit because I know some people will be like, you're being psychotic, that sort of thing. Crazy like that. I will then also show you the sign for psychological slash psychology, but that's more of a medical professional kind of deal. So this one's are more like crazy. Oh my gosh, you're crazy kind of deal versus this one being more of a serious, like professional. Okay, so I'm gonna show you both. So for crazy, you literally, we all kind of know it, is you have the pointer finger and you go in a circle line. Crazy, she's crazy, she's crazy. Circle motion. All right. The next one is psychology slash psychological. Very similar to annoy slash bother. Okay. The difference is you're going to kind of have that same hand shapes. Your non-dominant, sorry, is going to come more in the middle and you're going to tap on the back. So you want your non-dominant palm, you're kind of coming in at a weird side. Okay. So remember, bother was inside. You're tapping the inside where your hand is. Okay, like you can almost grasp it. All right. Psychology is you're tapping the outside. Mm-hmm. Psychology. Psychology. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Here, we'll do it again. So take your non-dominant, turn it sideways, bring it closer. Okay. Bring your dominant this way, turn it, and you're gonna tap. Yeah. Turn your hand. You almost have to have a curve to it. Your pinky does not, you don't turn it like this. You keep it out. It's got to have a weird curve. This, keep it up. Yeah, so slide it, just slide it. Slide it. Yep. Put your other hand on the other side and then turn it into it. It's a very, yeah, there you go. I know it is a very, that's why you let your hand turn back more. And there it is. It is a very interesting. Listen, if you're like, I don't need to worry about that, I'm okay. Don't worry about it. This one was a challenge for me to learn myself because I kept flipping it the same way. I was like, which one's which again? So that's what I'm trying to like show. I'm tapping the base, like the outside. I can't even show it right there. I'm tapping the outside. Yes. Annoy and bother again. It's okay. You're gonna turn it, you just turn it out. It's okay. Don't worry. Don't worry about it. I promise. Nervous actually does have a slight difference. So it's not a slight difference. It is a different. You're gonna have like pointer fingers and you wiggle them. It's almost like, ooh, I'm nervous. And it's like your legs are bouncing, like nervous. Like, I'm nervous. Okay. Another way is showing your hands shaking like nervous. Nervous. Okay. Any others you guys can think of? Okay. There are. So I love that I did it. I have a tendency to always use the word so. So is finger spelled so. Okay. So it's not exactly proper ASL because that's not really always one you say like so. It's more of, it's not a filler word in English, but it's a filler word in English. Am, not really. You just kind of fingerspell am. So that one I wouldn't worry too much about. If you're talking about me, like I am, you just point to yourself, me. If, that is actually a good one. If, sorry, they're all good. I realize that sounded bad. I meant if, because it has a good sign and it is used correctly most of the time. If is going to be your pinky for the eye, and you're going to tap the corner of your mouth. If, if, if. Okay, so if I want, if. Okay, if. Um, two does have one. It's not always, again, this one's not much of a English, I mean, ASL one is more of an English, and it's two. It's like your pointer fingers and you bring one to the other. Two, two. I going to, two. Okay, I'm going. And just kind of have, it's a bit of a gray area. And the reason I say that is because some people will be like, we don't use and, some people do. I use it especially when I'm emphasizing the importance of there is more than one thing. And it's, you have like an open hand, like the open five, and you slide it across together. And, 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 and. Okay, and. Okay. So before, oh goodness, girl, you getting us into the, oh, okay. Sorry, I missed the other one. So yeah, so the huddle. Oh my gosh, I love this story. I'm paused. I promise I will get you to your befores and after. I'll show you both of them. But I do want to talk about this real quick. So the song was saying about the huddle. So, you know, when you talk about American football, or talk about when you see American football, and you know how the group typically gets in a huddle together, and then they talk about their plays, things like that. That actually started at a deaf school. The inspiration for that and everything was at a deaf school. What happened is because we actually do have football for our deaf schools. And what was going on is that not our school, obviously, but all the deaf schools, they play against other deaf teams. And they didn't want the other team to be able to stand there and watch them talk about their plays and like they're just what they're going to do. So they get in a circle so everyone can see it, and they would describe and talk about their plays. And that's why there's that huddle, is because of that little circle motion. What happened was is some hearing coaches were coming in and observing and just kind of seeing what like the other schools were doing, and noticed that, and they realized, they're like, "Oh, I actually like that because there's no way the other team can know what's happening." So that's when they started doing the huddle. But yeah, it started at a deaf school. Just a cool little fact there. I love it. I think it's so cool. Okay. So if you're going to talk about being something before or after, before is going to be two, like, again, I guess open V's. You're going to have your dominant hand behind your non-dominant. Okay. So it looks like this. I'm turning sideways so you see what I'm doing. Before is I'm going to bring my hand back. Before, before, before. So think about it like this. This is current right now. Your dominant is where, or non-dominant. Your non-dominant is what's happening at that moment or what's going to be. And this is before anything. So it's almost like the past kind of deal. It's before. Before. Okay. All right. After is going to be your same non-dominant sideways and your dominant that shape, but you're going to go over after. After. So it's like, again, this is your topic you're talking about, and it's going to be behind it. Because if you remember when we talked about that timeline, right now is present, anything in the front is the future. So it's going to be after, it's going to be behind, at least behind this. After, after, after. Okay. They are. Well, you guys are just giving me all the ones that have so much with them, and I'm trying to be like, I don't want to, I won't, I'm trying not to hold y'all forever. So they are technically you're not going to worry about the R sign. Okay, that's already like embedded in it. And so if you're saying they are playing, you are going to be pointing to them. Okay. And what you're going to do, sorry, my dog was trying to chew on something. Um, you're going to like point, you can either do one hand and you're going to slide to the who. This is a directional sign, might I add. Sorry, I forgot to say that. They is a directional one. You slide it like across who you're talking about, and then you say they playing. They're playing. Okay. Um, it can get more specific. So talking about like if you're talking about two people, you almost make this K because you're showing one person here and there. You two, those two, they're playing. Those two are playing. Two are playing. Um, you can also do it for three of them. The three of them, it's like a three, and you make a circle kind of motion. The three of them, they're playing. The three play. Okay. Which I just realized I've not shown you the sign for play. So I love how I threw that in. You're like, yeah, we know this one. Play is two Y's and you bounce it back and forth. My bad. Sorry, that was like the first sentence that came to my mind was they play. Okay. You can also do the four. The four of them are playing, or the five of them are playing. Um, if you're talking about more than five, like six, that's when you don't typically, you can do six like this, but it would be a little bit confusing. So I typically have six playing, six playing, six playing. Yes, play and playing are the same. I'm saying playing because that is more of that's English. That's why it's coming out that way. But play like the ASL, the perfect correct ASL is point play. Like they play. So they are playing is they play. Okay. Um, Next week we are going to stop it, dude. He's so demanding right now. Next week's themes is gonna be, I think if I remember correctly, let me pull back that check. Yeah, miscellaneous, our hodgepodge. We're gonna touch on weather. We're gonna do sports. We are gonna do our Halloween signs. I promise that would be that one we might do first because the Halloween signs are really fun. And you guys, we get to be the week before the week of Halloween, so that's always a fun one. And then if we can, I'm going to continue, we'll continue more with directional signs. Because there are a few more, especially with the they, we will go over more, including with that. Okay. All right. So, I hope you guys have, I was reading the next one. Yeah, we'll do like emergency signs as well, because I do think that one's good to know. All right. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of y'all's week. And I will see you guys all next Tuesday. Bye, guys.